Thank you, Carol, and welcome to old and new friends alike. On today's Tiny Syringe, we're welcoming Mel back to the podcast, and we have been talking about some of the social pressures that 20-somethings are up against, but also to how to build a life worth living. So, Mel, welcome back to the show.
You be here.
So we have attempted to jump off onto this issue of relationships, the critical nature of relationships and how they form our future. And I have made it my commitment that we're actually going to finally get to relationships on this episode, if that's okay with you.
Yes, we're going to do it.
All right, let's press in. Let's turn our phones off and shut the door and focus. I'm going to put a big Post-it note in front of me, relationships. So, but where you went with that a couple of episodes ago, you were tying together the essential nature of relationships as you're trying to unpack the meaningful parts of Mel, the things that you actually think are going to be fastened to you when you're 60 years old, and focusing on that spark of the divine that we tried to unearth earlier. So let's talk about that just a little bit. How do you view the nature of the relationships and the importance of relationships when you think about your future, your calling, or your special place on the earth?
So especially in today's world, I've noticed for myself, it's so easy to keep people at a distance. And I know so many people are lacking very meaningful relationships because we have social media. And for me, my life's mission and what I want to do, and I won't go into all of that, but I just like restoring the fallen and restoring the broken, and you can't do that without relationships, and you can't grow without relationships, especially in I was just talking to your son Justin about a cancel culture, how if I have a conversation with somebody and that person doesn't like it, you're just immediately canceled and relationships over, and we can't have any meaningful relationships with dialogue because everybody's just disagreeing. And I want to break past the whole cancel culture thing and people just be able to disagree and move forward and grow.
I wonder what life would be like if you were to take all those relationships that you interact with on a daily basis. I wonder if you were to introduce a new filter in your mind and in your heart, and that filter might be something like this. A decade from now, will this person have a meaningful role in my life? What would happen if you were to practice that on a daily basis?
There would definitely be a lot of weeding out. And I think that's a good thing. Specifically me, I've always had a group of just a few really, really good friends that I consider friends for life. But having so many people outside of that and their opinions, I welcome everybody's opinion into my life and into my circle, and it's toxic. And so just like what you said, in 20 years, what relationships do I want to have built me up, and whose opinions do I allow in my life to like really sink in?
Yeah, I was on a Zoom call earlier today. I do a book reading club with some young professionals across the country. And we were talking about this, and I don't know if this would surprise a young 20-something female, but when you add a child into your life, I don't think there's any way to calculate the percentage of you that's invested in this new person that you love. And so in some ways, being selective about your relationships today, Mel, it's kind of like an investment into future Mel. It's an investment into that Mel that will one day cradle a young son or a young daughter. It's an investment into the future Mel who will be waking up at 2:45 in the morning because baby is screaming. And it's an investment in saying to yourself, hey, self, I give you permission to be selective about your time and about the people that you call friends. And in my mind's eye, this is very clear. There's absolutely nothing, no downside to that, only upside. And on the other hand, if you don't do that, and like you said, you kind of like invite the horde, then what else could we expect other than just chaos and confusion? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Hearing you speak on that, it just keeps popping into my head is iron sharpens iron.
Mm.
And to have people in your life that are going to sharpen you and quicken you, inspire you, I mean, that's who you become. And it is so important. It is so important who you marry. It's so important who your close friends are. Just that proximity to you is a sacred thing, and it should be
a sacred thing. That's so well said. I oftentimes say this to both young people that I mentor and clients that I work with in my consulting practice. Take inventory of those handful of people in your life today that every time you walk in the room with them, you feel bigger, taller, broader, and more robust as a human being. Those are your friends. Final thoughts.
Absolutely. I think being around people that give you permission to take up space is a healing thing, and it's only going to make your world a better place.
A healing thing, making the world a better place. That's a great place to stop. So that is our tiny syringe for today. I welcome your feedback, and here is how you can reach us.